Hi guys, I'm Bobsi. I've been a little bit slow at getting these videos out the door, so here are just a few more. I've seen a lot of people ask about sort of very specific stuff, like add a shopping or buy weapon stage or weapon swapping or some more necessarily specific features. Not saying weapon swapping is too specific, but it's important to note that the point of these videos is not to copy the project, it's to learn from the project, to learn and follow the logic. So I think in this video it makes sense that we maybe try and focus a little bit more on just try to juice up what we do have. That means try to work a little bit more with the visuals, like maybe we can add a little shooting animation or at least some particles coming out of the gun. We can add some knockback to the player when they do get shot. Might as well use the power of prediction, which allows for us to interact directly with physics and stuff like that. Yeah, I think let's just try and get straight into that. And I guess let's actually try to start with the knockback on the player, because I think that one should be pretty straightforward. So right now we can see that when we hit another player, we hit player health and we change their health essentially. And I think probably one of the easiest ways to do this would probably be, I don't like the idea of having knockback directly in the health. So what I think we should do is I think we should find what is called player movement, I think. Yep. Here the player movement, we already have access to the rigid body. And here I think we should just add a public void and then just call it knockback, for example. And let's give it a vector 3, and that would be our direction. And all we want to do in here is just have the rigid body add force in a direction, and we'll want it to be the impulse force mode. And I think that should mostly be it. And then in the shooter here, all I want to do is essentially just, as soon as we do hit them and we do damage them, let's also just do a other health dot try get component out. And let's have that be the player movement. And let's call that other movement. And in case that we get that, it'll be other movement dot knockback. And we just want to knock them back in the, oops, I forgot to make this an if statement. Oh, there we go, there we go. And then we essentially just need to, I guess, calculate the direction. Now, I guess in our case, we really just wanted to be knocked back in the direction of the forward here, I think, like that. And then let's do normalized and then times some kind of knockback strength. So let's do something up here, serialized field, private float, knockback strength. Let's set that equal to 5. And what I actually want to do is I also want to add an additional upwards force. So I think instead let's try and do this here. So try and calculate it, and let's just call it var knockback equals to this, and then we put that in here. And then let's actually calculate the knockback.y separately, just to add some kind of fixed upwards force that we always know what is. So let me just do vector 3.up times, actually let's just do the knockback strength, so that we know that it's always the same amount of upwards, at least that gets added. Actually that's just the knockback strength, not vector 3.up. There we go. So I think something like this should technically already work pretty much. So let me try and spin up another editor and let's test. So now that we're playing, here's our other player. Let's try and shoot. And there we go. As you can see, he now gets knocked back and a bit upwards. Now the backwards knock was not strong enough at all. I like the upwards, but the directional knockback was not clearly high enough. I mean, we can try and just add some kind of behind the scenes factor here of, let's say, 5, for example, something like that. So this time the knockback force in a directional, well, in some kind of direction, will always be about 5 times higher than the upwards direction. So here we go. I'm just going to try and shoot him. And that still did not do the trick at all, actually. Why not? My gut feeling is that this immediately has something to do with the stuff we're handling with the movement in terms of the planar damping that we're adding. So we might want to make that a bit more floaty. So here, let me try and clear, and let me try and shoot. And yeah, there we go. That is it. So yeah, it's stopping horizontal magnitude. So let's try to just not do that, just for testing purposes. Just to see if the knockback is indeed there now. And there we go. That's the knockback that we were looking for. Okay. This likely means that we might not need to do the stuff we're doing here with the planar damping. So I guess let me try to just return that to the old one. I think what we do instead is if the horizontal velocity here is indeed greater. So let's try and move this actually above where we're adding the positional direction. And then we're no longer wanting to use target velocity. So we're not capping it anymore like this. And what we want to do instead is adding a movement multiplier. So let's just do float move multiplier. Let's just set that equal to 1. And essentially we're going to be timing the target velocity with this, I guess, supposedly the end result realistically. So like this, I guess these don't really matter. Same equation. And then what we can do is if it is greater, we set this movement multiplier way down. So you can essentially move less if you're moving too quickly, essentially, which I think should still allow our movement to work how we want it. Yeah, so my movement still works how I want it. But now we should also be allowed to have the knockback. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Now, obviously, we want the planar damping actually coming back when we shoot. So let's have that take effect. So the planar damping is used here. And essentially, when we knock back, we want it scaling back up. So I guess maybe instead of actually having planar damping straight up like this, we can just have like a knockback time. Knockback timer. And what we can do is we set the current state of knockback timer equals to, I guess, however long it should take for the knockback to recover. So let's do serialize field, private, float, knockback, recovery time. Let's set that to, I don't know, 0.4, for example, something like that. And that also means we don't actually need anything in here. This can use the old planar damping, but now we need to modify this a bit. So let's do var actual damping equals to planar damping, and let's just use the actual damping in here. And then we can always modify this equation a bit later. And so down here, we set the timer to the knockback recovery time. And then all we do is if the state.knockback timer is greater than 0, we will do state.knockback timer minus equals to the delta. And actually also, let's just make a quick safety check saying if the state.knockback timer is less than 0, we set the state.knockback timer strictly to 0. Okay, here we go. So essentially this is just a timer that we're counting down. I know I might be skipping through this a little bit quickly, but hopefully the logic somewhat makes sense. Now we know that we'll essentially be in this sort of knockback stage that has a timer that'll be counting down. And what we can now do is we can scale this actual damping depending on how far along this knockback timer is. So essentially in the very beginning, we will have no damping and then we'll sort of smooth into having damping again. And the way that we want to do that is we want to multiply the planar damping by, I believe, mathf.inverse lerp, I think is what we want to use. And essentially we want to move between, I have to think, between the knockback recovery time and 0 with the state.knockback timer. I think that should do the trick. So now essentially when we are at the knockback recovery time, it'll be 1, which means we'll have full damping. So that's wrong. So that was the wrong way around. There we go. So, which means, no, sorry, I'm silly. It'll be at 1 here. Yeah, so when the timer is at 0, it'll be 1, which means we'll have full planar damping. But when the timer is at its full state, which means we would just knock back, it'll be at 0. Yeah, so this was correct. So I think now we should have sort of a planar damping that allows us to get knocked back, so we're not stopped immediately doing the knockback. But it should still also allow us to be knocked back for a little bit. There we go. As you can see now, he's knocked back for a little bit, and then it sort of comes back. And I guess you can realistically modify this however you want it. I'm not sure I necessarily love this. If you really want to, actually, that could maybe feel better, is allowing yourself to use an animation curve. This is something I really like to do. So we'll call this knockback recovery curve. And I love using animation curves. I think they are awesome. So let's do knockback recovery curve.evaluate, and then we feed it our value in here. And so essentially, as this value moved from 0 to 1, we can now fully control it with a visual curve, exactly how the value comes back. So if we go and I find my player, and we should see the knockback recovery curve here, we can just have a standard curve. Remember, this is actually a multiplication curve. So if you wanted it how it was before, it'll be like this. Essentially, just keep it 1 the whole way. No, sorry. No, this would be correct. Yeah, this would be how it was. So when it's at 0, it'll be 0. When it's at a half, it'll be a half. When it's at 1, it'll be 1. And so now we can actually make sort of a smoother curve to make it maybe fade in more. So let me just try and think. So when this is at 0, we want no damping, which means time-wise we are down here. And then we'd essentially want it to sort of fade in. So I think we'd want a curve almost like this. And we could even lengthen it a little bit, maybe something like this, and have this go more down. Something like this. This should allow us to sort of control the recovery being a bit smoother on its own. Let's just go and quickly test that. That's working. Oh, if I could hit him. There we go. Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a different curve, and I can see it sort of flies further and then it fades out. We could also have a completely different curve, maybe something like this, see if that feels better. Really, it's more of a feels thing, and I think using animation curves for things like this allows you to control the feel quite a lot. Yeah, quite like that. I think that works. Okay, cool. So yeah, that was a bit of knockback. That was a little bit of a detour. But I guess the knockback might be enough on its own for this video, as this ended up being a little bit long. And then in the next video, I can actually get into more of the visuals of the gun, doing some animation stuff, or at least just playing some particles and show how we want to handle that using predicted events. And yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.